I want to say that one of the things that annoys me the most is when people be like, our founding fathers would be disgusted with the state of America, or our founding fathers would be disgusted of our current political state. Bullshit. Those guys had egos the size of the goddamn sun. There was a lot of infighting. The fact that they pulled off not only the Declaration of Independence, but formatting the Constitution is a miracle considering the egos in that room,
especially the age, because a lot of people don't realize, like, they think of them as like these 80-year-old men.
Yeah, Franklin was in his 60s, but with the exception that, and Washington wasn't really, he was doing the war stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, they were all like 35 and under.
Yeah.
Not even legally old enough to be. Adams is probably a little older, but yeah, not even legally old enough to be president today.
Yeah.
Dude, so I just want to come out of the gate with that because people need to realize that these are human beings. They're not these gods that we've made them out to be. B, like, if let me just go on this rant. If the founding fathers were dropped into modern America, they wouldn't be disgusted. They'd fucking love this place. Thomas Jefferson could openly date black women. Benjamin Franklin could go onto Tinder and geotag Paris, everything within 80 miles of Paris, set age limit to 60 and above, and just have a blast with his French whores. Do you think Trump is annoying on freaking social media? John Adams, talk about a guy that loved to hear himself talk. John Adams would be tweeting every 30 fucking seconds with some bullshit take. We forget about John Adams for all the great things he did. It's well documented. He had some bullshit takes on stuff.
Give me three bullshit takes. They would be pissed about taxes.
He literally obsessed as because he was Washington's vice president, which back then and to this day is kind of a pointless job.
Dick Cheney.
He did.
He did a lot of stuff.
He was the exception to the rule. Yeah.
The most he is considered what the
he
most
had a skiff at his house. Vice presidents aren't supposed to have skiffs at their house. Adams. Well, yeah, Adams, like, because he had nothing to do as vice president, and this is a guy who liked to have hands on. He liked to be working. Like he was like trying to get the presidential title like elevated to like Your Excellency and shit like that. And it was like Washington had to be like, we'll just do Mr. President. You can call me president. That's fine. Like, we just fought a war over these titles. What the f*** are you doing, John?
You should be called your king. No, what? Why?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What about these taxes? We should bring those back. I think that would be the only thing they'd be like, what the f*** are you
John,
guys?
what are you doing? Yeah.
What the f*** are you doing?
By the way, George Washington started he started the French and Indian War, which is why King George was doing the tax increases, is because it's like, you started this war, you have to pay your due for this. and the Americans were like, we're not doing that. We'll just do our own thing. What are you gonna do about it? We already learned how you fight in the French and Indian War because we were fighting for you. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. George Washington literally, basically, depending on which historian you're talking to, executed a French officer in the Ohio River Valley that kicked the whole thing off. That led to the 7 Years' War, which was truly the world's first world conflict. It was done. 21-year-old Major George Washington, out there on his own with nobody overseeing him, executed a French officer that just blew the whole thing open.
He was 21?
He was 21.
And then it's like, I don't know what to...
And they only put him out there because when he was 17, his half-brother needed a surveyor because they were trying to settle the Ohio River Valley, like modern Pennsylvania, Ohio, all that. So his brother was like, I'll just send my kid brother out there. He needs a job. So he learned the lay of the land. So the local governor, Robert Dinwiddie, is like, well, that Washington kid knows his way around there. We'll just make him a major and give him a bunch of Indians and militia guys.
At 17 until 21, this is what holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he just executed
Washington's story is gnarly. And we don't have to look at him as this perfect God,
He's human.
Yeah, he's a human being. Like he was a kid making some mistakes, like starting the biggest war in the history of the world up until then.
Think what you were doing at 20. He could not have even drank in modern day society.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I will shoot. Okay, we'll shoot this guy, and then that just.
We don't know, but it very well could have happened. That's one of the accounts from the French that's how it went down. Yeah. Anyways, the ironic thing too is like 25 years later, Washington is like literally like, sure, I'd love to be friends with the French. I used to execute them, but now we're best friends. They're going to help us win this war.
No shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, see? I didn't know any of this. Okay, so then you had the two that grew to hate each other was...
So Washington's president, John Adams is the vice president, Thomas Jefferson is, he's still in, he's on the cabinet. But anyways, so these guys went through a lot to write and edit the Declaration of Independence and to keep the whole thing. They were all working their ass off during the war years. America's a country now. Washington's president. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. John Adams is vice president. Thomas Jefferson is somewhere on the cabinet. But now that they didn't have the British to focus on, they started kind of focusing on each other a little bit. And they had differing opinions on the direction the United States should go. And it boiled over to the point where, so John Adams was our nation's second president. And Jefferson, dude, again, we look at social media. These politicians are talking shit to each other on social media. I'm like, that's nothing. Thomas Jefferson started his own newspaper just so he could talk shit about John Adams when he was president. He didn't just pick up a phone and do a tweet. He started his own social media platform just to talk shit to the president. You know? That's why this like Musk-Trump dynamic, whether they love each other or hate each other, it's like nothing new in a lot of ways. Rich guys just starting their own media organizations to talk shit to each other.
And in presidents.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah. So, and at this point, John Adams is like, what the is this guy's problem? Long story short, Thomas Jefferson beats him in his reelection. Now Thomas Jefferson is the president. And there was just a full-on fallout at that point, right? I don't know if hate's the appropriate word, but like,
they did not get along.
They were not going to talk to each other again. Now this is and again, we don't realize this about our founding fathers. We have this really romantic notion that they were on this noble conquest, which they were in simple ways. In simple terms, yes, America was a noble, in my opinion, a noble quest. But like,
it's still what we're doing.
Human
with
beings,
today.
Yeah, steering that boat.
Yeah,
and they were prone to ego like anybody. And anyways, Adams kind of slowly retires into a less public life. Jefferson really tried to stay. He was kind of attempted to stay in public life, but these guys never talk to each other. They didn't want to hear about each other. And man, I wish I did a better job verbalizing the timeline on this, but like basically let's fast forward to like, I think it's the 1830s. Could be wrong. Jefferson and Adams have basically outlived everybody. Everybody that was there in that room on July 4th, 1776, signing that document, they're the only ones left. And they're the two biggest players. It's like you remember sports analogy. You remember I remember you remember certain Super Bowl team years with the Patriots, but all you really remember is Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
And a couple other big names. Like we don't know the rest of those founding fathers' names.
Oh, that's
everybody
true.
knows Adams and Jefferson. They were big dicks in that room, and there's a reason. And they're the only ones left. And they kind of realize at this point, an entire 2 or 3 generations are removed from that. And so America is going through this weird thing of trying to like really romanticize that era. That's when the first propaganda about, the signing of the Declaration of Independence started coming out, and kind of these, school, these like, the nursery rhymes and the stories, and it was all being written by people that weren't there. And the guys that were actually there were gone. Anyways, I'm not doing it. Long story short.
I love this.
I don't know how it happened, but they ended up reaching out to each other through letters. Adams was in Massachusetts.
Who did it first?
Jefferson was in Virginia. I don't know. I mean, we could look that up right now. I don't know who started the correspondence. I should know that. But they started writing to each other because have you ever, dude, it's like, I don't, not to go into too much detail. Big projects you worked on 10 years ago, a movie, a TV show, whatever. And by the end, you were kind of over it and over the people, and you saw egos come into play, and you're just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. But a certain amount of time goes by, and you're like, that was awesome what we did. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of reconnect with these people because they also feel the same way. That was awesome what we did. And then, it's cool. I think that's what happened with these guys. They're like, we're the only ones left, and we are awesome. We're legends. We need to be cool with each other. We got to drop this ego. They have the letters. It's all there. They were just checking in each other's families. It happened when Abigail Adams died.
Oh, okay.
When John's wife died, I think Jefferson reached out to him.
No shit.
Because they knew each other well back in those days, man.
And he knew what he was going through. He's like, hey, man, sorry.
Yeah. Jefferson had lost his wife, and then he turned to the slaves. Started banging them. It's a whole different thing.
No shit. So he was like, I'll write a letter to my homie.
Sorry about your wife.
And then that would have probably been such a because it's not instant. This is the Pony Express. This is time.
Right. It's going from Virginia to Massachusetts. I mean, I don't even want to do that drive in 2025. Can you imagine on a horse?
Dude. So then you're like, oh shit, what the
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
So they did this for a while. They were going back and forth. They were just two old guys that that's all they had was each other at this point and that time in their life. And I think they were understanding the true importance of what they did because now America was a thing. This is the craziest shit, man. July 4th, again, I don't know the year, but I think this is in the 1830s at this point. July 4th comes around and John Adams is on his deathbed on the 4th of July, on the anniversary that made him John Adams. And his last documented words before he took his last breath on July 4th was, Jefferson lives. And then what he didn't know was Jefferson had died just a few hours before, also on July 4th.
What the?
Yeah. Both of these founding fathers who really became the household names they are today died on July 4th, 1776. Both died on that day as well.
Dude, he wrote that last letter, woke up in heaven in line. He's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Jefferson, you beat me again, goddammit. You're always having a one-up me, Jefferson. Yeah.
I just wrote a letter. You know how embarrassing that is?
Jefferson's up there like, there's a lot of black women in heaven. This is my heaven.